Jean-Dominique Bauby's The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, Le Scaphandre et le Papillon, 1997, is one of the most poignant and profound memoirs in modern literature. Composed after Bauby suffered a catastrophic stroke that left him with Lockton syndrome, a condition in which he retained full cognitive function but was completely paralyzed except for his left eye. This memoir was painstakingly dictated letter by blinking. A former editor-in-chief of Elle magazine, Bauby had been at the pinnacle of his career before the stroke, which occurred in December 1995 when he was 43 years old. The book was published just days before his death in 1997. In it, Bauby chronicles his inner world from the confines of his physical prison, reflecting on memory, identity, imagination, fatherhood, love, and the dignity of the human spirit. Both poetic and unsentimental, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly offers a meditation on life from a man who lost nearly all ability to live it outwardly but found freedom through his mind and his words. Structure and style. The book is composed of short, non-linear chapters or vignettes, each a few pages long. There is no traditional narrative arc. Instead, Bauby's reflections are associative, moving between past and present, imagination and reality, humor and despair. The prose is lyrical and precise, belying the excruciating effort of its composition. Bauby dictated the entire book through a method called partner-assisted scanning, in which a transcriber would recite letters in a frequency-based order, E, S, A, R, etc., and Bauby would blink when the desired letter was reached. Every word was a triumph of will and patience. This labor-intensive process gives the memoir a compressed intensity. Every sentence is deeply intentional, with no extraneous words. The format mirrors the constraints of Bauby's condition, while the richness of the text reflects the boundlessness of his interior life. Since the memoir is not plot-driven, the following are key chapters and themes. 1. The Diving Bell. The title metaphor, The Diving Bell, captures the claustrophobia and isolation of Bauby's condition. He likens his body to a heavy, inert diving suit. My diving bell becomes less oppressive, and my mind takes flight like a butterfly. The butterfly represents imagination, memory, and freedom. This duality frames the entire book. Bauby is physically trapped, yet mentally liberated. 2. The alphabet. One chapter discusses the communication method that made the book possible. It's both a technical explanation and a tribute to the patience of his transcriber, Claude Mendable. Bauby reflects on how the act of composing sentences became his sole activity and joy. The effort to construct even a single word gives language a new sanctity. 3. Prayer and faith. In Prayer, Bauby describes finding comfort in the rhythm of Hail Marys, even though he was never particularly religious. This illustrates the human need for ritual and transcendence in times of despair. He does not become conventionally spiritual, but he finds solace in simple, repetitive mantras and the idea of something greater than himself. 4. Bath time and hospital life. In Bath Time, Bauby recounts the care he receives from hospital staff. The scene is intimate and tender, yet tinged with sadness and humiliation. He contrasts his current passivity with the vigor and control of his past life. Throughout the memoir, hospital routines, bathing, physical therapy, feeding, highlight the loss of autonomy and the heroism of small routines. 5. The sausage. One of the most heartbreaking sections is when Bauby fantasizes about food. He imagines a simple sausage and potato dish, emphasizing how much pleasure he once derived from ordinary experiences. These sensory memories become a form of sustenance. 6. The Emperor, the Chinese, and the Mask. This chapter compares his situation to Emperor Napoleon, exiled and trapped, or to ancient Chinese emperors surrounded by silence and ritual. He also reflects on being hidden behind a mask, both literal, his paralyzed face, and metaphorical, his inability to express his thoughts directly. 7. Chinichita and imagination. Boba describes escaping into daydreams and fantasies, often imagining scenes from old films or trips he can never take. In these moments, his imagination becomes his only freedom, a palace with open doors. 8. Fatherhood and regret. Boba devotes several chapters to his children, particularly in The Alphabet and Sunday. His deepest grief arises from his inability to be the father he once was. In one passage, he imagines reading to his daughter or explaining the stars to his son, knowing he never will again. 9. The lovers and past relationships. In The Lovers, Boba reflects on past romances, especially his relationship with his former partner Sylvie, who visits him regularly. He contrasts idealized memory with the imperfect reality of relationships, highlighting the bittersweet nature of reflection. 10. The beach. One of the most moving chapters is his memory of taking his son to the beach, a sensory-rich moment filled with sun, sand, and laughter. This brief recollection exemplifies the emotional power of the internal world and Boba's talent for capturing joy even in captivity. Character analysis. While the memoir is mostly introspective, certain people feature prominently. Dominique Boba. Boba is portrayed as witty, intelligent, self-deprecating, and honest. He avoids self-pity, choosing instead to observe, reflect, and sometimes joke about his condition. Despite unimaginable hardship, his tone is not bitter, it's contemplative and, at times, luminous. He admits his failures and regrets, as a son, father, partner, and editor. But his memoir is not a confession, it's a testament to resilience, showing how the human mind can thrive even when the body fails entirely. Claude Mendable. Claude is Boba's transcriber, the woman who patiently helped him write the book. Though her presence is more symbolic than detailed, she embodies compassion, patience, and partnership. Sylvie, mother of his children. Though no longer a romantic partner, Sylvie remains a supportive figure. Her continued presence in Boba's life suggests a quiet loyalty and shared history. Their relationship underscores how bonds endure and evolve through crisis. Boba's children. His daughter Celeste and son Théophile appear in memories and imagined scenes. They represent loss and longing, but also joy. Boba's grief over not being able to interact with them fully is among the book's most emotionally powerful themes. Major themes. 1. The duality of imprisonment and freedom. The central metaphor, the diving bell and the butterfly, expresses the tension between bodily entrapment and mental liberation. While Boba's body is like a diving bell, heavy, sealed, sunken, his mind flutters like a butterfly, weightless and alive. The memoir continuously plays with this contrast, between confinement and escape, silence and speech, immobility and imagination. 2. The power of imagination and memory. Deprived of action, Boba finds solace in memory, fantasy, and language. He travels through time and space using only his mind, revisiting past loves, meals, places, and stories. These mental excursions become both entertainment and survival. Imagination is not a luxury but a necessity, and memory becomes a way of asserting identity and resisting erasure. 3. The dignity of the human spirit. Despite his condition, Boba refuses to relinquish his voice, humor, and dignity. The very act of writing this book, letter by letter, blink by blink, is a triumph of will and intellect. He reclaims his identity not by resisting his fate but by finding meaning within it, sharing his truth without bitterness or sentimentality. 4. Communication and isolation. Boba's condition highlights the fragility and preciousness of communication. The excruciating effort it takes to form even a sentence underscores how much we take language for granted. Isolation is not only physical but emotional. He cannot participate in conversations, jokes, or even eye contact in the traditional sense. Yet through the book, he re-establishes connection with the world, readers, and his loved ones. 5. Acceptance and mortality. Bauby does not rage against fate. Instead, he observes, mourns, and accepts. There is grief over lost mobility, lost love, missed experiences, but also serenity. He finds peace in small things: the sound of the sea, a remembered meal, a child's voice. The memoir is infused with a calm awareness of mortality, elevating it from a medical memoir to a philosophical meditation on life and death. 6. Identity and the self. Despite total physical incapacity, Bauby insists on his identity as a writer, father, lover, and human being. The book becomes a declaration that the self exists independently of the body. This theme challenges assumptions about disability, showing that dignity, thought, and humor can endure when everything else is taken away. Literary style and devices. 1. Fragmented structure. The nonlinear, vignette style mirrors Bauby's situation. He is cut off from normal time and space, and his thoughts emerge in flashes and fragments. This structure enhances the intimacy of the text and reflects the rhythm of a mind working under duress. 2. Symbolism. The diving bell symbolizes the weight and imprisonment of Bauby's body. The butterfly represents freedom, imagination, and consciousness. The sea appears throughout as a symbol of escape, vastness, and memory. 3. Poetic language. Despite the constraints of communication, Bauby's prose is lyrical and vivid. He uses metaphor, simile, and sensory imagery to evoke sensations he can no longer experience, which paradoxically makes them more vivid. 4. Tone. The tone is remarkably measured and unsentimental. Bauby never begs for sympathy. His humor is wry, his grief subtle. The effect is both humbling and elevating. Readers are invited into a world of pain, but also beauty and courage. Legacy and reception. The Diving Bell and the Butterfly was an international bestseller and has been translated into dozens of languages. It received critical acclaim for both its literary merit and emotional impact. In 2007, it was adapted into an award-winning film directed by Julian Schnabel, which closely followed the memoir's structure and perspective. The film was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. Bauby's story has become a symbol of the resilience of the human spirit, often referenced in discussions about disability, communication, and the power of storytelling. Conclusion. Jean-Dominique Bauby's The Diving Bell and the Butterfly is an extraordinary literary achievement and a testament to the endurance of thought, identity, and creativity in the face of unimaginable physical limitation. Through his blinking eye and indomitable will, Bauby reasserted his presence in the world, defying silence and death. The memoir is not just about suffering, it's about seeing, remembering, and being. It reminds us that even in the darkest moments, the mind can remain a sanctuary of light, and words, however painfully composed, can set us free.